Hi, and welcome to this training video. In this video, we will explore the routing UI, demonstrating how it streamlines complex routing tasks, facilitates the creation and execution of salvos, and simplifies the renaming of sources and destinations, all within an intuitive and easily organized user interface. Our entry point into the routing UI is the routing button located on the left-hand menu bar. From there, you will be presented with 4 options. We will begin our exploration with the config screen, the bottommost choice, which serves as a view-only page. From this screen, you gain a full overview of all bundles and ports within the routing system. By default, it displays everything, but you can refine your selection using the search and filter functionalities. You can filter by sources, destinations, devices, domains. Additionally, you can sort the list by any of the columns by simply clicking its header. By clicking the small arrows in the Label column, you can expand a bundle for a more detailed view of its ports. Alternatively, you can expand all bundles by clicking the Expand All button. Hovering over tags will reveal the tags associated with the bundle. You can also see warnings on each of the bundles. If you hover over the warning triangle, you will get a brief description of the issue to ease fault finding. The Labels window allows you to customize your configuration. All connections will inherently have a name for each bundle and port within the system, and some may also feature user-customizable labels. These labels will be automatically fetched into buttons when the connection is added. While system organization may necessitate certain technical labels, end users may benefit from customized labels. For instance, the technical crew might prefer to display installation labels in their router sections, whereas a multicam producer may wish to see the name of the photographer. Each label can also be assigned an icon and a color to visually distinguish different sources and destinations. Let's now jump over to a position to demonstrate how different labels can be utilized within a router section. As you can see, we have 3 sources with distinct colors and icons in this top router section. This is because we are currently displaying the user label. However, we could choose to display the setup label instead. The label strategy defines how the labels will fall back to ensure that a label will always be visible for each of the bundles and ports on the system. In the top section here, you will notice that all buttons, except the 3 with user labels, show no label. This is because we have set the label strategy to off. So it will not fall back to any other label if there is no user label available. If we change the label strategy to the default, all buttons except the 3 that have a user label change and show the first available label. In this case, that is Ext custom label. We encourage you to experiment with various label configurations and strategies to gain a comprehensive understanding of this system's capabilities. You should also note that this functionality is individual to each router section, allowing one section to display the user label while another utilizes the installation label for the very same sources or destinations. Now, let's return to the routing UI and examine the route window where we can set up and take routes. We begin by selecting the connection we wish to route. This selection can be made by tags, providing a curated list of sources or destinations, or by domain, either by connections or by NMOS. The lock button at the top will lock the selection for sources and destinations together, so when you make a selection in one, the other will follow. The button just below, with the 2 arrows, will swap sources and destinations. For example, using 2 Blackmagic 2110 IP converter 3x3G, one as a destination and one as a source. You can quickly swap them to route in the opposite direction. Each box has 3 SDI inputs and 3 SDI outputs, giving you 3 HD connections in each direction. You can choose how to display the different ports, either as a bundle or as individual ports. And you can also filter for specific components. This will vary depending on the connection. Some, like the Video Hub, always route all components together, while others, such as this SWP08 router, Allow routing components separately. So you can route audio separately from video. You can also choose the preferred label and label strategy for the route window. There is also a few additional options here under the option menu. And this button will refresh the sources and destination window, just in case someone have made any routes elsewhere in the system. To set up a route, click on a destination and then a source. The Take button at the bottom will light up green. Clicking it will take the route. This can also be done in reverse, selecting a source first, then a destination. You can select multiple destinations and route them either to a single source or to multiple sources. You can click and drag to select multiple bundles or ports. Note that the order of selection matters. You can also use standard key modifiers for multi-selection, Command plus click or Shift plus click for Mac, and Control plus click or Shift plus click for Windows. If you regret your selection, simply click the Clear button in the bottom right corner. Once a route is set up, you can add it to a salvo by clicking the green plus sign at the bottom. You can keep adding routes to your salvo, and the number on the salvo button in the bottom left corner will show the current count of routes in the salvo. You can open or close the salvo pop-up at any time by clicking the button. Here in the salvo pop-up, you can remove routes from the salvo, clear the entire salvo, save the salvo, and execute the salvo. Some connections will allow you to release the routes. This could mean that you route the destination to black and silence, or that you simply clear any connection between 2 points, like here with our NMOS connection, freeing up bandwidth on the network as there no longer will be video and audio traffic between the 2 boxes. Now let's have a look at the salvo window. Here you can create, edit, and execute salvos. In the left pane, you have a list of all the salvos in your system. Clicking on a salvo will display its routes in the right-hand pane where you can edit its name, assign tags, add a description, and add or remove routes. You can also swap any route in the salvo with the current route displayed in the right-hand column. The green check mark here in the right-hand column indicates that the route is currently active. To create a new salvo, simply click the Add button here. This will bring up a dialog where you give the salvo a name and an optional description. Then when you click the Create Salvo button, you will have a new empty salvo ready to be populated with routes. A salvo can contain routes from all your different connections and NMOS devices, making it easy to do complex and repeatable routes. Now, let's return to a position to see how this functionality can be utilized on a surface. You are already familiar with the route section, but in addition to that, we have specific actions and feedbacks that can assist you in controlling the routing system from a surface. Assuming you already know how to create a button, let's delve into the specifics. Under Actions, you will find a group titled Internal. In this group, the 2 actions we will be using are Take Route and Execute Salvo. Similarly, under Feedback, you will also find a group named Internal, where we will be utilizing Route Status and Salvo Status. Now that you know where to locate them, let's examine the pre-made buttons. We have added an icon and some explanatory text, and then a simple route was added by pressing Add Routes at the bottom. This window should now be familiar to you, as it is identical to those found in the Route UI and Salvo UI. This is all that is required to configure a button to take a route. To receive visual feedback indicating the route status, we have added the Route Status feedback. Here, you configure the route or routes you wish to monitor. You have 3 requirements options that determine what requirements must be met for the feedback to evaluate as true. Some route is active. This condition will evaluate to true if any of the specified routes are active. Every route is active. This condition requires all specified routes to be active for the feedback to be true. And no route is active. This condition requires that none of the specified routes are active for the feedback to be true. In this example, with only one route specified, the first 2 alternatives will yield the same result. you can customize the visual presentation of the true feedback state under Button Content. Here, you can modify the layout, icon, text, and various colors to indicate that the route is active. The second button uses the exact same action and feedback, but with a different route setup. Now let's bring up the Video Hub control software. As you can see, the buttons will now initiate routes on the Video Hub. For the Execute Salvo buttons, the procedure for creating a button is identical. We have used the Execute Salvo action. This action offers only one option, a drop-down list of available salvos in your configuration. The feedback options are the same, and the requirements mirror those of the Take Route feedback. Looking at the 3 Execute Salvo buttons we have made here, the first one is a salvo that will clear all the multi-viewer routings for multi-viewer 1 and 2 on a ATEM Constellation 4ME switcher, and it's also set up with a feedback that only evaluates to true if all the routes in the salvo is active. In the second button, we have used the setup ATEM MV1 salvo, which will route all the MV1 destinations to input 1 through 16. And a third button that is set up with the setup ATEM MV2 salvo, which will route all the MV2 destinations to input 17 through 32. So, if we bring up the settings window for the multi-viewers, we can see that all multi-viewer windows are set to black in both MV1 and MV2. So now let's press the Setup MV1 button and see what happens. All of the MV1 windows change while the MV2 windows remain black. Also notice that the Clear MV button no longer is blue, indicating that not all the routes in the salvo are active, hence the feedback no longer evaluates as true. If we press the Setup MV2 button, we will see that all the windows of the MV2 changes, and the button is indicating that all the routes in the salvo are active. Now let's press the Clear MV button, and you will notice that the Setup MV1 and Setup MV2 buttons no longer indicate that all the routes in their salvos are active. This concludes our training on the routing UI in buttons.
I hope this was helpful. Make sure to subscribe for more training videos like this.